Welcome everyone to the very first ever live stream of the Vermouth Society, a brand new Vermouth education and engagement program brought to you by Campari Academy. Today we're going to be talking about, we've got Leonardo Leuci, the founder and global brand advocate of Del Professore Vermouth. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
It's Professore, right?
Professore, yeah.
Does anyone ever shorten it and call it the prof?
Yeah.
Yeah? It happens?
In US, everybody say the prof.
Is it because, do you think it's because they're scared of getting Professore wrong?
Yeah, that's how they say Professore.
Yeah.
But this always happen.
It's a natural thing.
It's like with a surname,
Yeah, exactly. Well, today we're going to be talking about where does Vermouth come from, its history. Leonardo is an insane depth of knowledge, so he could speak for hours. And my job today is to try to keep everything on track and keep us moving along so that you can be out of here in around 45 minutes. To start with, I think, me personally, I'd love to start with where does Vermouth come from? Oh, also, just a little housekeeping for anyone that is watching live. You're welcome to ask questions. If you do ask questions, I've got my phone here. I'll be trying my best to keep on top of the questions and be able to pass them on to Leonardo, answer them ourselves. And if you're watching later on, you can still comment and ask questions and we'll try to get back to you if we're able to function it. Okay, so me personally, as I said, I would love to know where Vermouth started. So you've got such a huge depth of knowledge and you've researched it to no end, because the only time I was ever given a story of where the origins of Vermouth came from, and it could be going down the Jenny Churchill created the Manhattan way, was that you had Roman soldiers that were traveling out and, expanding the Roman Empire, and they needed to like tonic water has quinine in it, they needed to have bitter botanicals in their system to stop them getting sick. So the guys in charge put all the bitter botanicals and medicinal herbs inside wine, and they knew the soldiers would drink the wine, so that it's almost like slipping the medicine into something that they're guaranteed to drink. Is there anything real about that?
This is one of the legends. Vermouth is not a product that is born one day. It's something that somebody wake up in the morning and say, "Oh, Eureka! I want to create Vermouth." No, Vermouth is something that it was a journey, more than 3,000 years of evolution of spiced wine and flavored wines. Essentially, so there's a lot of things to say about the history.
So it's not like the way we would have a brand launch these days where it didn't exist and then it existed because a marketing team put it together. It's more like an organic thing that grew over time to become what we know it to be today.
And there's a lot of connection with a lot of interesting and important part in the history of evolution of humans, the invention of modern medicine, Hippocrates and the Hippocratic school that started to play with wine, use it as medicinal to recover a lot of heal that people have. They're starting to use herbs that work so much better if was infused in wine instead of water, for example.
Okay, so there's some legs in the legend. It's not completely untrue, but it started more through Hippocratic societies.
Absolutely. There's Greek, that's the first of all the history of the wine, the Mediterranean era. It's 6,000 years before Christ. We have already very good knowledge about how to produce wine. The wine traveled all around the Mediterranean area, start to be used as a medicine, especially in Greece, but also start to be used as a recreative,
recreational
thing. So essentially, this part is very interesting. You can see the evolution, and when wine is arrived in Rome, the empire was quite big, but at the beginning was not really well accepted from the Romans in general, because for example Cicero says I don't like this trend from Greece. I don't like they bring poetry and wine because it will weak the soldiers. You know, like
Oh, the kind of what is it? Warring culture.
absolutely.
That okay. So it's like you wouldn't see drunk Spartans. You
No,
know? The movie 300 would be very
Absolutely.
different. Okay, I
Absolutely.
see.
But little by little, this like wine and spiced wine start to be a big part of the Roman culture, and they spread all around the empire. And one of the most interesting things to say about that is that the Roman Empire was so big, and every single country have its own style of wine, but also different kind of spices.
Yeah.
And so we start to have a lot of different spiced wines used for different like things on the empire. So we have books from 70 after Christ that describe something like 60, 65 different aromatized flavored wines, and this is
65 different, not brands, but like 65 different types of aromatized wine that were
I
being
don't
used.
think they have brands at that
No,
time.
no.
It was like Roman flavored wine.
And like to think 70, like it's not 2070, it's 70. That's 2,000 years ago.
absolutely.
There was 65 different variations. That's amazing. And that's kind of why I could see it being a good reason why it's so ingrained in culture now in the Mediterranean.
But I think that like after that, like for example, during the Middle Age, inside the monastery, they start to develop different kind of recipe, a lot of different recipes, all the amaros and elixir, and culture started that time. Monks starts to create different recipes for always for medicinal purpose, but also they create this ipocrasso that was essentially the spiced wine, the flavored wine before vermouth. And it's
Okay.
another part of the journey. Like we start with Greece, evolution of Roman Empire. After the Middle Age arrives, and in the monastery they start to study how important herbs and spices can be for medicinal purpose.
And what different herbs do different things. Okay, I see.
Distillation arrives, so a
Yeah.
different way to extract, because with wine you can extract some stuff, but when you start to have alcohol,
It's more solvent. Yeah, you get more out.
you can go for bark, you can go for seeds, you can
Yeah.
go for roots, very hard spices, and so there's also flavor evolution, and it was really interesting when Middle Age finished that we have a very big knowledge about how to use herbs, spices to create flavored wines, and also to preserve the wine. This is another
Yeah.
important thing.
So would you say my understanding of the name vermouth is that it come from a German word, but was there you said that barks and things like that weren't as easy to extract from at the beginning. So would it always have had wormwood in it, or
Wormwood is
for its
very
namesake?
Wormwood is very ancient, we can say like spice. You have to imagine that there's a mention of a wormwood in the Bible,
Okay.
because if you look at the Apocalypse, like you have this star called wormwood, essentially Ascensio, that will transform all the water in bitter stuff, in bitter water, so people can drink it anymore. So the use of absinthe is something that really go back in the history.
Yeah, they were.
And,
That shows that they were using it, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Wow, they were already. But some people just love crazy bitter flavors. Like I love bitter flavor.
Oh,
I'd still be drinking the water.
But also we have to think about it was more simple at the time to have bitter flavor than to have sweet flavor.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Sugar wasn't as easy. Yeah,
Honey was not simple. Sugar was not easy.
you can't just go to the supermarket. You got to fight
Absolutely.
with bees. Yeah,
So complexity, people was looking in complexity, and the bitterness, and in the
Yeah.
spice that you can use to make like vermouth and today.
So it's such an old product. When did it start to form into the kind of vermouth that we know today? The big houses. the Cinzanos, the Martinis.
Oh, we have to understand that we start to talk about vermouth around 70 something. You can say vermouth was started to be popular, and we have a mention of the vermouth in 1770 in a book called Enologia Toscana. It's a Toscan enology, like that describes the vermouth produced in that area, in Tuscany area, as a very nice, light, sweet, flavored wine that have to be drinking in the summer.
They're saying this is the good stuff. This
The
is
good
where
stuff, exactly. But where we have really the evolution, the final evolution of the vermouth was in Piedmont, essentially.
Yeah.
We also have to understand that Piedmont is the region, we say in Italy. Why is the region? Because it's one of the best region to the wine production, and we don't have to forget that vermouth is a wine.
Yeah.
So most of the people thinks that vermouth is just like a liquor or a product that you have on the rack and just to make Negroni Americanos, but it's not. It's something more, and essentially it's very interesting to see how vermouth changed the rules of everything. If you think about the mixing drinks, mixology, we have to understand that it's considered the keystone evolution of modern mixology.
Yeah, when vermouth arrived on the scene, there was an explosion of new drinks.
Yeah, but if you take a look of old books like Jerry Thomas, Harry Johnson books, and you look before vermouth started to be popular, the cocktail recipe are always whiskey, sugar, a little bit of curacao, some whiskey cocktail, But when vermouth is arrived, there's an explosion of recipes.
Yeah.
And if you take a look of Harry Johnson 1900 books, oh my God, boom, there are
It's suddenly
60,
goes
70
big, yeah.
recipe with vermouth. So vermouth,
And they also don't change much.
no.
The specification. The Manhattan started out kind of a little bit rocky, but once it landed on its three components as we know it today, it hasn't changed much.
No.
The Martini doesn't change much. The Negroni doesn't change much. It's kind of like the vermouth cocktails seem to last the test of time. They go with people's palates.
Yeah, because we have to think about what is vermouth. I always say, vermouth is a bottle cocktail. You have spirits,
it's a
bitter,
cocktail already.
sugar,
Yeah.
water. So I can imagine that when smart bartenders Jerry Thomas, Harry Johnson, all these bartenders understand the potential of vermouth. They understand, oh my God, I can add complexity, adding everything spirits, bitter, sugar, water, concentrated in something like vermouth. So I'm doing a cube cocktail. So
Yeah, well, if you think of the original, is it 1806 description, spirit of any kind. So if you're using the wine as the base spirit, sugar, water, and bitters, it's pretty
Absolutely.
much everything in a glass.
And I think that they love it like vermouth because it was so complex. And in fact, you start to see that they also start to use the vermouth as a cocktail ingredient by itself. Vermouth cocktail was the only not spirits that was used to make a cocktail. You have whiskey cocktail, you can have brandy cocktail, generic cocktail, gin cocktail, and vermouth cocktail.
Yeah,
Because
and they went through all the different categories as well.
already have the complexity that they needed. You don't need to add a lot. This is also why in Italy we don't have a huge cocktail culture till the cocktail became really popular. Because essentially the complexity that people was looking, adding bitters, sugar, and other stuff, we already have it in a bottle of vermouth.
Yeah, so you've got everything you need in a bottle of vermouth, right? And we talked. You mentioned American style cocktails. You talked about Jerry Thomas, Harry Johnson. They're, German American
William Smith,
bartenders.
very important. Yeah, absolutely.
But at that time, how was vermouth being, before it was exported out of Italy? How was it being consumed in Italy? What's the Italian traditional way of obviously apart from Negronis in Milano, Torino.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking previous to that.
Okay, vermouth was also part of a revolution. like a social revolution. A little bit like the highs in the United States. You know, like you can have your drinks or your punch at home, but if you want a nice drinks, you have to go in a cafe, in a bar, in a hotel
Because they've
bar,
got ice.
because they have got ice. And Italy was almost the same things. Like when cafes start to propose the vermouth with soda, with cells, proposing a different way. Like people really want to go in a cafe and enjoy to have a vermouth in a different way, something that they can't have at home because at that time you don't have a soda siphon like
Exactly,
today.
yeah. Soda's not easy to get.
Absolutely. And so essentially this was a big revolution, a social revolution, and the Italian cafe in Turin, in Milan, really became a place where you can have vermouth, and vermouth was 99% of the aperitivo, the drinks.
So you say aperitivo, right? No, I've been to Italy a few times. Okay.
Yeah.
And when I go to Italy, I find myself on a terrace. It's usually summertime, on a terrace outside at a table. Where if you know me and I come into your bar, I love to sit at the bar. But there's something special about sitting at the table.
Yeah.
In Italy, and I've ordered vermouth and soda several times, and I get it served slightly differently. But what I'm going to ask you to do for me today, if you don't mind,
Absolutely, no
is
problem.
demonstrate for me the as the master of Del Professore, how you would serve at the table. So we're sitting at the table. Someone's come over with a tray, right? And how is it presented?
But
at the table?
imagine this like that. One of the most interesting things at that time was that they have soda siphon.
Soda siphon.
Soda siphon changed.
Like these kind of guys.
Yes, soda siphon. Yeah, soda siphon changed everything. Why? Because it was very simple with the soda siphon to close the drink at the table because you don't have to stir it, you don't have to do nothing.
Yeah.
You put the vermouth inside, you put like a soda from the siphon, and the drink is perfect.
Well, today we don't have a soda siphon.
So
I'm
we
going to
do-
get you canned soda. Do you mind? I'll just bring over this lovely tray.
Don't worry.
Okay.
We do it in a different way.
Here you go.
I will suggest something.
Yeah.
I have to turn this in front of the camera because I.
Okay.
So, like, my suggestion is when you don't have a soda siphon and you want to make like vermouth and soda, put the soda before.
Is that because the vermouth is heavier?
Yes, absolutely. So you put the soda before. Like you choose the amount of soda,
I love it.
and after you put the vermouth, and that way you don't have to stir it. You know,
Okay.
it's more easy. Because we are bartenders or former bartenders, you can say. and essentially we have all the tools at home, you know, like
Yeah.
But at the end,
Not everybody does.
Not everybody have it. So like after I pour it, generous amount.
Generous amount.
Yeah.
Okay.
It depends from what time is it. It's like you want more light.
It's vermouth time.
It's always vermouth time. Yeah.
All right.
So that way you don't have to stir it. After you take
It levels
slice
itself
of
out.
orange, you can have like slice of lemon, slice of grapefruit, slice of whatever you want, tangerine in season. I always say to the people, play with seasonality.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
have different kind of
Make it personal.
if you have different kind of citrus, use it with the vermouth. Every citrus connect in a different way. The essential oil of lemon, give you freshness. The orange give you a little bit of sweetness.
Cheers.
And give a lot of.
That's so funny. Oh,
It's
I just love that. I think I still get a little starstruck even though I've met you several times. Having you sitting here on the podcast is just amazing.
But also play with different kind of sodas, because now we have a lot of sodas. Play with flavored sodas, fruity sodas.
Yeah, I was playing recently with a pink soda, which has kind of got a little hint of bitterness to it, and because this is so smooth, it would work actually quite well, I think. Speaking of smoothness,
Yeah.
right? I think we might want to ask, how is it that you came to creating Del Professore, and how is it made?
how vermouth is made is something like really interesting. First of all, we have to say that in the past there was something really important, the wine. Now, in the last like 50, 60 years, I remember when I decided to start to make vermouth, I was really interested to understand if wine can add something because nobody was talking about wine in vermouth.
Yeah.
I remember also do a enology school, the information was, oh, wine is just a base, neutral base to create vermouth. But my idea was, 75% of what is in the bottle of vermouth is wine. Why have to be neutral?
Yeah.
So when we start to study like the history of vermouth, we also understand that in the past there was two really important things. First things, the wine was defining the quality. Higher was the quality of the wine, higher was the quality of the vermouth. Second things, the wine that was used, and it's the wine where we start to use when we decided to make Professore, was the Muscat. Muscat is the perfect wine to make vermouth. Why? Because you have the aromatic part that is very important, and after you have, like the very nice acidity. So we choose a very good wine to start to produce our vermouth. And after you have to choose your style. What do you want to be? Very bitter vermouth, very herbal, herbaceous vermouth. You want to have a lot of bitterness. You want to have a lot of citrusy style. So it depends what you want.
Or
to
that
be.
kind of like rosemary, Mediterranean, kind of earthy sort
Absolutely,
of flavor.
like vermouth. In the past, every single it was not like today. Today you have a lot of different style of vermouth: red, white, pink, blah blah blah. Before was Italian vermouth. Every company at the beginning have his own style, but the vermouth was just one.
Was it like red or in
no, it was
color
not
or
red.
white? Is that
Was not really
as
red.
relevant?
Was not
back
relevant.
then?
The color was not relevant. The color is never relevant. Also,
Okay.
it doesn't define nothing. You can say like red wine from where Sicily, or
Yeah.
So before the vermouth was, we can say the color of the infusions, like at the beginning. So
Yeah.
all the vermouth was amber color, Strucchi, like describes in 1907. The Vermouth di Torino has a golden amber color, so that was not really red. The red arrives late. So we define the wine base we want to have. If we use Moscato, like in the Professore, you have this smoothness that comes from the Muscat and this very nice aroma of like peach and ripe fruit. And after you define the style using the different kind of herbs and spices you can have it, there are very bitter spice, very aromatic. So you define your style. Every spice is normally infused by himself to create a kind of tincture.
And would you be infusing the spices individually in wine to
No.
begin with? Okay.
No. We infuse in pure alcohol.
Okay.
And this is very important because when you infuse something like orange peel, you really want the orange peel
Flavor, yeah.
like flavor. You don't want like a spirit, like grappa, for example, brandy that tastes like orange. You want the perfect.
So
orange style.
the spirit you're using, would it be like a grain neutral spirit type
Grain
spirit?
neutral
As
spirit.
clean as
clean
in
as
flavor
possible,
as possible. Okay.
95 point.
Yeah. So
4.
dry that it's
Absolutely.
making itself more wet.
Absolutely. After that, when you have all the spices infused, you blend it together and you create what I call a kind of mother tincture. So like with the soul of the vermouth. This stuff like this production takes times. This is something that people have to understand. More we can say artisanal and craft is the production of the vermouth. More time you need to make sure your infusion.
So the
from raw
more
materials.
handcrafted, the more you want it to be unique in its flavor. The longer you have to steep it, you give it more time.
Essentially because the difference is if for example if you buy the specific kind of orange that you want, it's like we buy oranges from Calabria, for example. It's one of the best region in Italy where to have organic citrus. Bio citrus is the region where the bergamot grows, or beautiful. So like if you buy a specific kind of orange, not a generic wine,
Yeah. You're not going
cannot.
to Tesco.
No, exactly. You need time because you have to do your own infusion. You have to filter your own infusion, and this takes time. Most of the company decide to buy extract from suppliers, but when we started, we decided no, we want that our vermouth will be different from anybody, and we want to choose the raw material
Yeah.
from the beginning and
That's
follow
amazing.
all the process of the production. So from the infusion, the selection of the wines, the selection of the sugar, because also the sugar is important, because if you have 15% of sugar in your vermouth, and you want that also the sugar is part of the like aromatic like part of the vermouth. So we use like a blend of demerara, muscovado, panela. So also,
Wow, nice.
and this was the difference when the Professore started. We really want to be the first like a craft and a really artisanal vermouth in the market at that time. Okay?
Yeah, so you're not just taking the different ingredients and bringing them together. You're making sure that every ingredient shines individually
Yeah.
before you're bringing it together. That's amazing.
And this was also interesting, in fact, that we introduced something that for vermouth was very was really not present on the market: the inconsistency. That is the same things that you,
The inconsistency, yeah.
Yeah.
It is a wine. You
It's
know,
wine.
like apparently wines change every year.
absolutely.
It's like different
Absolutely.
vintages and things like that.
And for us, this was really important to let people understand that first things is alive,
Yeah.
because we use real wine, we use real spice, all the ingredients are crafted, selected in the region, infused by us, and so it's a different kind of product. When we started, it was really the only company to do that. There was
Yeah.
not other.
So this you treated this from the start like a wine, not like an ingredient in a cocktail. It's
You know why?
It's the main character.
And why I'm talking about the complexity of the wine, because normally what bartenders do, they have the bottles in the rack, they have to do an Americano, they pour it, it's an ingredient. But if you do that, just to show you, if you have a product where your approach is this, so it's a kind of a wine approach. What's the first things you do when you have a wine?
When someone pours me this, yeah.
It's this.
And then I go,
So
I'll take it.
This is why it's important that
oh,
the wine, the aroma that the wine apport to the drink, it's relevant.
yeah, we don't do that enough. You do
you
that
do it, yeah.
every time you're having a glass of wine.
Absolutely.
You savor the wine.
And this is a wine.
Oh,
so
that's so
I put
good.
my nose inside and I say, okay, I can feel like the muscat. I can feel the balsamic part of the mint.
Yeah.
And this was
And
why
you
the
can-
Professore was a little bit a game changer in the world of
You can
vermouth.
smell the grape. What's it? My wife's family's from Asti, so they drink Moscato di Asti all the
Yeah,
time.
absolutely.
It's like a
This is a
huge thing.
blend. We have Moscato. We also don't want to use a lot of caramel, so we decided to give the color using a red wine. It was something that we love it to do. So we put a little bit of Nebbiolo inside. The Nebbiolo give you this roundness, but also these tannins that blends really well with the bitterness notes, with the bitter notes. So it was a different approach.
It's so good. And what are some of the key herbs in that?
Oh, we have a lot of different. We have quina, rhubarb, a little bit of mint. After we have mace, nutmeg, cloves, but also we have some flowers like chamomile flowers. It's and
Nice.
the idea of the Professor was, I don't want the vermouth that is extreme. I don't want a vermouth that is too bitter. I don't want a vermouth that is too sweet. I want a vermouth that is very well balanced, because for me, vermouth is something that have to be part of cocktail, but also can be drink neat.
Yeah.
But also, I think that the when people start to mix vermouth, understand the potential of vermouth, understand that this kind of smoothness and this balance, like profile, really can elevate a cocktail. This is why they were starting using a lot.
Yeah, well, if you're using a really good vermouth, then you can get away with using, if you're making a cocktail, you can get away with using other really good ingredients because it's not going to clash with them. It's only going to make them sing a little bit more. Very cool. Now, let's see. We've got some questions coming through. I can't quite read them. So here we go. So from Ella, I would be curious to know what you think of territorial vermouths that are emerging in different regions of Italy and the world using native wines and local botanicals. It's very small, right?
Yeah. But then, we are not too old. We can keep reading. But the market of vermouth is very dynamic. There's a lot of regional vermouth. Some of them are very interesting. I think that I really like to see that the vermouth category is growing because if the vermouth categories grow, means that there's space for everybody.
Yeah, it's good for everybody. Yeah,
absolutely. Like look at the wine market. We can hit more consumer if we have, and I like a lot of regional vermouth when they want to be really different, when they want to tell me like I'm from this region. From this region, I have this, and I can feel it. This is what I like. And also for vermouth from other part of the world, I want to feel it. I don't want to that is like a clone or somebody that tried to be like from Turin or similar to Turin. You have a style. You have some. Bring your style in the market.
There's a reason for you to be there. You're not just trying to copy everybody else.
Yeah.
Very cool. What do you think of vermouths that you don't use wine as a base?
Oh my God! Like this is very controversial. I don't want to be censored. But I think that this is why we have to create. We had to create the Vermouth di Torino, like appellation, because in a modern world, like there's different perspectives, and for example, you can go in Sussex and have a vermouth made with birch wine, like has like vermouth have to be made with wines, and in the 50s, like the 60s, 70s, wines was just like made with grapes.
But now today, anything fruit is wine.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Also not fruit. This is why it was really important to protect the heritage and the history, the culture of Vermouth di Torino, because Vermouth di Torino essentially was the most relevant vermouth in the history, also of cocktails, essentially.
Because for me, there's the Classico style and there's basically the traditional style vermouth, and then there's kind of the Punta Mason kind of flavored ones. But for me, I was always my understanding was there was just white and red vermouths. I know you said color doesn't dictate.
It's very funny. At the beginning, it was just Italian vermouth.
Yeah.
You have a lot of bar books. Take any bar books from 1862.
Yeah.
And start to
see. It says Italian. Yeah.
Italian. After we start to have sweet, because like the emerging of the French vermouth, so like the dry style, they start to, as they cannot define the difference by color, because the color was essentially the same. That was defined like French and Italian, and after sweet and dry. But after starting in the 20s, 30s, they start to understand that put some differences, start to be very different. Also because the white vermouth started to be big in the market, also the Chambéry style, blah, blah. So essentially to have the Rosso, the dry, the Bianco was something that the market needs to understand a little bit more.
Yeah, they had to start to
what's going on,
And what defines, so Vermouth di Torino, what defines Vermouth di Torino and separates it from
First of all,
anything?
Vermouth di Torino is the only IGT, only appellation that puts some clear rules on the production. it's not only about have to be produced in a certain area, you know.
So it's not simple geography. It's
Like Chambéry, for example.
Yep.
It's the first to have a local appellation was Chambéry. No, you have some rules to follow. You can't use any chemical. You can't use any chemical coloring. You have to use Italian wine. The Artemisia have to come from Piedmont. If you go on the superiore category, the rules are more strict. You know.
okay. So there's
like-
different tiers.
So like the only things I can say, like I don't want to say that like the Vermouth di Torino are the best vermouth, blah blah. But I want to say when somebody buy a bottle Vermouth di Torino, he knows that
Yeah.
there's some rules.
It's like when you buy champagne, you know that there's a procedure how they made it.
To be respected, that there's somebody that control that a consortium that control that is followed by everybody that put Di Torino on the label, and I think that is good because really first thing protect the history, the heritage, but also give to the consumer the idea that they know what they are drinking. You know,
Yeah.
there's no shortcut. There's no
So we've got a question from
Yep.
Danilo. Do you source all your botanicals and ingredients always from the same supplier or farmer? And what's the key for consistency of making vermouth?
For me, like the key in making vermouth, the consistency for me is interesting in quality. For me, the quality have to be consistent. The flavor have to define a style. But as I told you, if you use a real wine, the wine can be different every year. So every year you try to do something that is similar to the years before. But for example, small differences will always be there.
Yeah.
So for me, consistency is in the quality. It's like when you buy a Barolo. It's when you buy a Nebbiolo. It's like when you buy a Chateau di Chem, Chateau Latour, Lafitte. You are not looking in 92 is the same of 97. No, you're looking the quality.
Yeah. They're
Of
going to
what
make
they
the
produce.
best quality they
Absolutely.
can with what they've got that year.
Absolutely.
So you're not sourcing from the same supplier every
Yeah,
time.
well,
You're finding the best quality you can each
we
year.
try to find. We try to first things we try to use most of the regional suppliers we find because it's really important for us that there is a community of people that work with you. People are really important in the production of wine and also in the production of vermouth. So we have suppliers that bring to us what they found. We have somebody that bring to us, for example, wild juniper that they take in the Balme area. That is a very nice area under the Alps, like in Piedmont, or our own Artemisia. That is we like the distillery use his own Artemisia, and his natural product. So it's not always the same because the rain is not always the same, the wind is not always the same. So
Yeah.
so the consistency is in the quality. The recipe is always the same, and we try to give consistency in quality. That's
Yeah.
the most important things.
Yeah, that is.
But local producer for us is really important. Everything that can be found in the region near the distillery, we try to use that. Also because Piedmont is an amazing region for
It is, yeah, for everything. Like
spice and
truffles,
herbs.
you name it. A question on that: the aperitivo culture has started to spread around the world. You know, you see people winning best bar in the world with literally like kind of copy of an Italian style cafe. How has vermouth influenced the culture in Italy, like that aperitivo culture? Because it's kind of core to it.
You have to imagine that vermouth was the aperitivo.
It was the OG.
Almost 100%. There was a moment in Italy, where people didn't say we go for an aperitif. They say we go for a vermouth. I have like, for example, invitation for art gallery opening, for ships like I don't know how you tell it, you know, like
The launch of a ship where you're smashing the bottle.
when you smash the bottle, and this company, also huge company, was inviting people to a vermouth, not to an aperitivo, and it was
Wow.
crazy because it was not only in Piedmont, where there's no sheep like to
Yeah,
there's
it's
no
the
sea,
mountains.
but everywhere, like essentially it was really, I invite you for a vermouth. We go for a vermouth. L'ora del vermouth, the vermouth hour, was really part of the Italian aperitivo culture.
Yeah.
Was the vermouth, and after you can go in a bar, you can choose different kind of vermouth. I always say like every company have his own style. For example, Cinzano was very well known to be one of the most classic bitter
Yeah.
like vermouth, and how the company was like decided to have more a vermouth with a more wine approach, you know,
Yeah.
like others very light, and so on. So like in the past, we can say that the cafe was also a vermouth bar, and you can see these. For example, if you go to Spain, Spain was like Italians bring the vermouth culture in Spain, and the Spanish people love it. And if today you go in Spain, you can see the impact of vermouth in the aperitivo culture in Spain. You go in Madrid, everybody have his own vermouth
Yeah.
on tap, like vermouth is everywhere.
You can see it everywhere you go. Like
Everywhere.
it doesn't matter whether it's London, New York, San Francisco, like even Singapore. If there's a place that vermouth has gone to, there's a classic iconic cocktail from that area that has it in there.
Oh yeah, vermouth like there is almost a cocktail with vermouth in every side of the world. You know, like from Japan to Brazil.
Yeah.
You know, like Japan, they have this the bamboo. These Brazil, they have the rabo de gallo. After you have Italy with Italy, Europe in general, with a lot of different cocktails like based on vermouth, but all around the world, there is a cocktail based on vermouth, and sometimes it's super famous. Think about Cuba.
Mm.
You today you think about Cuba and you think about mojito, you think about daiquiris. But when there was the golden age of cocktail in Cuba, Cuban Manhattan was the drinks of the Club de Cantineros, not mojito, not daiquiri, Cuban Manhattan. To let people understand how these classic cocktail, like translated also in different languages, like in Cuban, like in the Cuban way, was important. France, like in France also.
The Manhattan's a big one for me. I love the Manhattan. Partly because I'm mostly making cocktails at home for myself. So going out to get lemons and limes and stuff to make sours and fizzes is a little extra work. So I know I can open my bottle of vermouth and I've got this many cocktails before I need to leave the house.
But also I like to see how vermouth is also coming back in classic recipe all around the world, till the 90s, the beginning of 2000s, there was the recipes, like with a very dry with a small amount of vermouth. You remember this Manhattan with just like a part of whiskey
wave the bottle in the direction of
and
France.
a splash.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now this is finished.
Yeah.
People like it to have a more smooth cocktail. So all the pre-prohibition style cocktails are coming back. 2-2-1 Manhattan, 2-2-1 Martini, Martinez, and so
Reverse
on.
Manhattan.
Reverse
we were talking
Manhattan.
about that
I love
earlier.
it. I love it. Reverse Manhattan. Beautiful. Also, if we don't know if it was a mistake when the recipe was printed in 1887, like Jerry Thomas Bar book, or was really something that People love it to have very light, smooth Manhattan with
Yeah.
just a little bit of whiskey and a lot of vermouth. But today, um, for example, in my bars, a lot of people love to have like a 1-to-1 or 2-to-1, like Manhattan or Martinez, because these drinks are easy to drink, lower in alcohol, and they can drink it a little bit more. But like it's for everybody. Because if you make like a very dry martini, a very dry martini, it's just for certain kind of people.
Yeah, you can't drink too many very, very, very dry martinis.
I like I think that like it's just for a certain kind of people. For the people that thinks that this drink has status, like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
drink a very dry martini because like I just want to be like Churchill or Hemingway
Yeah.
or blah blah. But normal people, regular people, they want the good drinks, like so well balanced. And,
Yeah, enjoying the drink. The drink, I think often the drink can be a focus, but it shouldn't be the only focus.
Yeah.
If we're going to a bar, we're there to socialize, we're there to network. That whole aperitivo hour, that was a time when people would talk to each other. The drink was there, but it didn't have to play absolute center stage. Now, I'm going to check one last time to see if we have. Have you tried aging or cellaring your vermouth once bottled like you would, say, a Barolo? Oh.
we have done this.
You've done it?
Oh, absolutely. Like we have bottles of the first like release that's still aging. Because
Ooh.
my idea was
Interesting.
I want to go in a bar, and we was doing this in our bar, and tell the people, you want a vermouth? We have the Professore,
Is that from
2015,
2012?
2016, 2017, 2018,
Wow.
and it was very interesting to see the evolution of the vermouth after different years. And for me it was very interesting because like when I say that some vermouth that are made with real wine, but they are alive, so they have an evolution in the bottle.
Yeah.
They change it as a wine, and this for me was super interesting to see. For example, for our classical that is based on muscat, to see how you lose the acidity after 2-3 years,
Yeah.
but you have a more round and smooth like muscat profile,
Yeah.
and to try a fresh one and 5 or 6 years old like vermouth and feeling the differences, it's really
So
interesting.
are you keeping them in a large number? Like, will we be able
No.
to buy, vintage ones later on?
Unfortunately, like we don't have large numbers because like
Yeah.
for example, we still is a very small company.
Yeah, very small.
Very small. Also, if now we are on the Campari portfolio, but the good thing is that Campari decide to keep like the production at the same distillery to keep like producing as we was producing. So it's very small production if you compare with any
Yeah.
other vermouth, like very small. And so we have some bottles of those. Like in my bar, we have some bottles of vermouth that's still you can say aging. But we also have done something different. We also have aged the vermouth in cask. I think we were the first to do that, but also in very different cask.
Okay.
Because my idea was at the moment, okay, I want to do something different. I start to put like vermouth in different kind of casks, like for example, Hyla whiskey cask, Jamaican rum cask.
Wow. I was
But
thinking you were gonna throw it in like Barolo, an ex-Barolo
Barolo,
cask.
yeah, we have
You
Barolo
have?
cask, Barbera cask, Brandy cask. We tried a lot of this stuff. We also bottled some of this stuff. It's limited edition. You can find
Amazing.
around. You can find around like some Jamaican rum cask finish, blah, blah. Because I like to play with this. When you are small, when you are like an artisan producer, you can do that.
Well, you should do it even when you're big. Like people.
Absolutely.
I think it's very easy to fall in love with a brand when you have so many fond memories. You taste it, you've got a
Yeah.
fond memory of it. For example, I'm going to have fond memories from this podcast, having you here, actually coming to my home and explaining Vermouth for the Vermouth Society people. And when you play and you give someone like an exciting limited edition, they become part of a moment that won't happen again, especially on such small scale. It's not like you're going to make the exact same thing again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I like
it's
but
nice.
to do different experiment was for us like something that really also helped us to let people understand the dimension of the project that was really small artisanal project. So like for us was very interesting, but also going around and try to get some funky casks from all around the world.
Yeah.
I remember calling people in Brazil, can you send me a cask
Yeah.
of your cachaça, because I want to try it. I want to see what happened. Like if I use this cask, if I use that cask, like I really want to put some vermouth in a Braulio cask. Like can be really
nice.
interesting to have like I want these.
Would it be sweeter?
I think
Would
it will
it
be
end up
really
being sweet?
herbal and like this minty like.
Yeah.
I want to try this. Like
Very cool.
Sometimes it's not simple. Like, but I tell you a story. It's funny. Like when I was looking for cask, I was really calling everybody. Say, send me a cask, and people say, who are you? I'm Leonardo. Blah blah. I'm opening a bar. Blah, blah. Okay, call me like that, please. Don't
Go away.
After like in the last 3-4 years, I have people calling me and say, Leo, you want some cask?
Yeah. We've got this really cool cask. Would
Absolutely.
you like to try it? That's
Want
amazing.
to try? It was cool.
That must be a signifier of success. They've
Yeah.
tried your product. They know it's legit now.
It's like, but also they understand that it was really playing with these kind of things to find something new, to explore different kind of flavors, and was good.
Yeah, amazing. Well, look, I think it's now been an hour almost.
Already?
It disappears really
my
fast.
God.
That's why I keep looking around. I'm checking my phone. I'm making sure that we're on some sort of on time.
We finish the list. We have done everything.
We gave ourselves some notes of like, how long to talk on any particular topic, to try to guide ourselves. For anyone that knows me, knows I could talk for an hour and a half about nothing. And Leo knows everything. So when you combine that, we could have talked for hours. Thank you very much for coming and launching the Vermouth Society live stream in here.
See you soon. It's not finished.
Yeah, we've got 2 more episodes of this. This one was kind of looking at the history.
Yeah.
The next one we're going to look at like current uses. Is that where we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But next time I definitely want either you to make a cocktail or me to make a cocktail.
Okay, I remember. I remember how to
I'll polish up a Manhattan and see if I can make you something that is palatable.
There was just like last things when I say like a lot of bartenders today look for complexity in drinks in a very complicated way. They look for complexity in crazy infusion, crazy techniques, rotovapping everything. Sometimes just like you have this complexity in products like vermouth that you skip.
Yeah.
You say no, but I always said to people try to understand what people in the past was doing. There was evolving an existent recipe using other products to create a different profile.
Yeah.
So whiskey cocktail, Manhattan, and after you switch the whiskey and you have the Rob Roy.
Yeah, a completely different drink. Yeah.
Easy way to create new drinks. Today, sometimes it's very complicated things.
Yeah.
Vermouth is an ingredient that can really give to cocktails a lot. And just to finish, take a look, for example, what the Argentinian bartender, the Pichin, was doing. He was taking the vermouth and use it in tropical style drinks, adding to vermouth like a fresh pineapple juice or acerola juice, and nobody's doing this today. Like if the people thinks that, oh no, vermouth just for classic drinks. No, play around, play with
Yeah.
because it's just like an aromatic wine.
Yeah,
that-
I used a vermouth, the Bianco vermouth in a missionary's downfall once, and it come up nice. It was actually pretty good. You know, mint and some pineapple and things. It was really good. Well, thank you.
Thank
Leo.
you to you.
I'm going to wrap it up by saying, for those of you following live, we will be back again with the Vermouth Society, episode 2 of 6, where we will be in the cabin again, same place, same time, for the first episode featuring 1757 Vermouth di Torino and the legendary Giorgio Bargiani. Back 2 o'clock tomorrow. And yeah, thank you, everybody.
Bye bye.
Been fun. That was amazing.
That was good. Was good.